Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the typical example of a man who is telling you that he's taking you to Ibadan, but he's facing Maiduguri as president and commander-in-chief of a country that you personalize governance, you familiarize governance, that governance now is for about you and your friends and your family. That's what governance should be. That there's no conflict of interest, there's no moral burden or obligation, there's no guilt about what has just happened in the oil sector, and he's a minister of petroleum. Is this how nations should? People have resigned as presidents in other crimes for lesser crimes.
Is that a crime?
Yes, it's a crime.
A crime of what? How do you define?
Conflict of interest.
Is that a crime?
Yes, it is.
Under which law?
Law is not just about the letters and the written words. Morality is an integral part of law. Societies exist. Law, the foundation of law is based on morality.
Someone like Kenneth Okonkwo said Atiku, Peter Obi, and Tinubu in 2027 should step aside. Do you hold that view too?
Well, you know my views around that. I ordinarily would want Omoyele Sowore.
The man who is calling for revolution.
Yes.
You think Sowore will be president one day?
Yes, of course. If Buhari, see, anybody can be president. Since Buhari has become president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu has become, anybody can become president.
Including Sowore.
Of course. Of course. Okay, so what's wrong in calling for a revolution? Whether it is revolution of ideas, whether it's revolution at the ballot box. If it was wrong, if revolution was wrong, as they want people to believe, why did Buhari call for revolution? Why did Bola Ahmed Tinubu call for revolution?
So do you agree with Kenneth Okonkwo that the three should step aside?
I wouldn't say I agree totally, and I wouldn't say I disagree with him. And this is my reason. Number one, there is no one fits all in politics, and you cannot tell the politicians what to do. However, I feel that the generality of Nigerians should galvanize around a young person, a person who is not a member of the establishment, a person who will punish politicians and non-politicians alike for bad behavior. And that is why I prefer Omoyele Sowore, because I know for a fact that the idea of or the possibility alone of Omoyele Sowore will make all the ruling elites run away from the country. You know, because the reason why our country is this bad is because we have a situation in our hands where people are doing what is wrong and they are not, and there's no repercussion for it. And that's why somebody can steal 80 billion and there will be no repercussion, and he knows that there will be no repercussion. And that's why another person will be encouraged to do the same. That's why terrorists can kill 80-something people in a day and there will be no repercussion. Nobody will go after them. They will never be arrested. And it is protesters that will be arrested. This president, that's General Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Why are you calling him a general?
Yes, because he's behaving like one. He's behaving like one. The Bible says, by their fruit we shall know them. This particular president is behaving like a military general, because only a military general will arrest 2,400 protesters, detain over 100 and something people in Kuje prison, detain over 800 people in Kano prison, detain people who are protesting in Katsina prison, in Kaduna prison, all over the country. The military didn't do it. But these refineries must go. They must go into private hands. And again, it's better and good for our economy. You cannot have an economy that's built around Dangote, Aliko Dangote. You understand? Monopoly does not help any nation. So let them sell the refineries. That's another alternative solution. And lastly and finally is that we must support EFCC to go after corrupt people. EFCC is one agency of government that needs the support of everyone in the country. And EFCC must enjoy, look at what has happened with Yabelo. It sends a message that certain people are above the law. Look at what has happened to the protesters. It sends a message that certain people are put beneath the law. People who have committed who have not done anything but demanding for end to bad governance. Is it that the government wants bad governance to fester, to continue? But look at how Yabelo has been shielded from arrest, from prosecution by powers that be. So we must support accountability, transparency, and that people who have done wrong, that they be held accountable. They face, the law, and that and also in addition to that is general application of rule of law. And this is where Singapore and other countries that moved from third world to first world got it right. Many Nigerians do not even know more than 4 or 5 ministers in this government. And that is to tell you the level of incompetence of these ministers. One will have thought that because of the failure of these ministers, 80-something people were slaughtered in Yobe. 80-something people. Nobody is calling for any form of accountability in that ministry, the ministry in charge of safeguarding lives and property. Nobody is calling for any form of accountability. They are busy wasting taxpayers' money at the Federal High Court, parading protesters and charging them with treason. The people who should be facing treasonable charges are killing people. Unchallenged in the Northeast, in the Northwest, in the North Central, all over the country. There's general insecurity all over the country. So, and it is the president that is to blame, because the president cannot be in every ministry working. The president appoints people there. People who he appoints are supposed to be competent to tackle the economic, social, and political challenges in the country. And when they fail to do so, then the buck stops on his table when he refuses to sack them, when he refuses to reshuffle his cabinet, and when he refuses to rejig his cabinet. So then he must take the blame for the failure in Ministry of Environment, Ministry of Defense. So he takes the blame, and nobody else is to be blamed but the president.
If you were the president, what would you do to the ministers?
Believe me, if I were to be the president, on Democracy Day, May 29th, I will have removed most of the ministers.
Should we give him, out of 4 years, he spent over one year, should we give him the benefit of the doubt, maybe till March next year?
I can tell you that we are not going to see anything. This weekend with Bola Ahmed Tinubu is going to be worse than you can ever imagine. Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the typical example of a man who is telling you that he's taking you to Ibadan, but he's facing Maiduguri. And you are telling us to give him time. So give him time to drive you into Sambisa Forest or what? Nothing is going to come out of this government, I can assure you. And you are going to remember, you recall during the presidential election, I kept saying that the opposition should come together. That if they don't come together, they are going to lose. People called me all sorts of names. Look at today. After the loss was when they started taking my advice. You see this Bola Ahmed Tinubu that we are seeing, who is charging protesters for treason, is going to attempt third term.
That is not captured in our laws.
Was it not Akpabio? You have a man like Akpabio in the National Assembly, and you say that's not captured in our law. If Bola Ahmed Tinubu tells Akpabio to jump, Akpabio will say, should I jump to my death? Or how high should I jump? Akpabio that amended the Police Act in 1 day?
That's unfair to say. One man cannot amend the law. The National Assembly is
responsible. Have you seen senators saying no, and Akpabio will say yes? He has done it on national television. There's nothing I'm saying that is not true that we have not seen. He doesn't even allow people to debate. People will raise their hands up in opposition. He doesn't listen to them. You cannot have a dangerous man like that, like Akpabio in the National Assembly.
What do you mean dangerous? Is that not getting too far, Deji?
Of course. Anybody that tells you, Akpabio with his own mouth said that anything the president wants, they will do it. How can you have a legislature? How can you have a legislature that the head of a legislature is the head of the National Assembly? How can you have the head of the legislature saying that anything the president, the legislature is supposed to act as a check and balance?
They say it's in the interest of the Nigerian people.
In the interest of the Nigerian people is why you amended the Police Act to extend the tenure of the Inspector General of Police in 1 year of the Bola Ahmed Tinubu regime. He borrowed more money than Buhari borrowed in 8 years.
Is that a fact? Or that's
you can confirm.
That's not quite true.
No, it's correct.
It's not quite true. That's not exactly true.
No, it's true. You can fact check me. Fact check me.
No, it's not exactly true.
No, I said this is what he has done. You can fact check me. Now,